I greet you viewers and I welcome you to Writing Theatre channel. I am Dr. Dele Omojuigbe. Today I want to look at how to write impactful Christian books. I believe that this topic is important because these days the church writes more, pastors write more, evangelists write more. The church has been writing really, but the church writes more these days. And so it is important for us to look at, book writing, the art, even if you like, the art and science of book writing. Because there are general rules that guard book writing. Well, there could be some specific rules now because of what I want to be looking at. But the specific rules do not take away what should be, when Christian books are written under general rules. So there are general rules, there are specific rules. I've had the privilege to be invited to many churches to give talks on book writing in the church. 3 of those churches, the attendees, I could estimate the number, were about between 150 and 200 each of them, which means that the church writes more these days. The church publishes tracts, bulletins, newsletters, and even books. Pastors write books, evangelists write books, even members, church members write books. So we need to see. I have been privileged, if you like, also to have read many Christian literatures. Oh, many. I've borrowed many, and I have some of my own. At least I have nothing less than 100 titles, Christian books, on my shelves here, in front of me here. So as I read, because I am a Christian also, so there are some basic expectations that are required in any book published by Christians. There are big writers, big authors, but there are some budding writers also, all in the church. So what I want to be doing here will be like a review, so to speak, of some of those books that, trying to compare what I feel should be using biblical principles and perhaps certain things that should not be. Now, let's move. I have some tips. So we are going to be looking at the tips here. Okay. Number 1 is that when you write as a Christian, as a pastor, we don't expect you to copy the Bible because the Bible is available to everyone. Everyone has a direct access to the Bible. So you don't need to be copying the Bible, what the stories of the Bible, unless you want to teach specific, lessons from the stories. You don't need to be telling us the story of Samson. Everybody knows the story of Samson. Those who don't know, if you don't know, you go to the Bible and you read up the story of Samson, unless there is something important, very important, that you want to bring out from Samson's story. So ensure that you master your theme very well. There are many themes. Maybe you are writing on holiness, on prosperity, on divine health, on longevity, on Christian parenting, and so on and so forth. Those are many more, many more are thematic areas that you might want to dwell on as a writer. So you ensure that you master everything that you are saying, everything that you are writing. Because anyone that reads, for example, if I read a book on divine health, it is because I want to know how to have direct access to divine health using biblical principles. So you tell us. And that is the reason also. Second tip is that when you write, you don't just refer to the Bible passage. You quote out the Bible passage of reference. You don't say Exodus chapter 2 verse 10 as reference. No, write out what Exodus chapter 2 verse 10 says. Because it's not everybody that carries, about the Bible. So you make the reference clear to every reader. How many people carry a Bible around along wherever they go? Maybe just a few. So when you write, make sure you copy out what a particular Bible passage says. And then that is the only way to make your book complete. Which means that when you write a book, make it a complete book. Which means that any reader doesn't need another text to complement the one you have written before the message can be clear to the reader. So you make your message as clear as ever. That is also very important. So you master your theme. You quote out the Bible passages directly, not just the chapter and the verse. Bring what the chapter and the verse are saying out for a reader to see. So that is why a text must be complete in itself. And then you know that when you write, you are not just writing as if you are writing a literature book. No, you are writing for a purpose. You are writing to persuade. So what is persuasion, for example? Persuasion is trying to win an unwilling reader to your side, to bring an unwilling reader to your side to agree with you. So which means that persuasion is a function of both facts and argument. But persuasion is stronger in the sense that you need facts to argue. However, you need both facts and argument plus emotions to be persuasive. And when we talk about emotion, what are we talking about? It means that there is something in what you have written that touches me directly. So I must feel it. My interest must be there. My interest must be defended. Until my interest is there, until there are certain things that I can point to in what you have written to say that, these are for me. I might not be convinced, I might not be persuaded. So conviction, persuasion comes from emotion, and emotion is a function of personal interest. What is for me here in the book that you have written, that I'm reading here? What is for me? I can quote what I have learned from each of the books I have read. I'm talking about Christian books now, Christian literatures. I can say that this one, when I read this one, this is what I gained there. When I read that one, I gained so there. That is how it should be. Your writing must try to convert. You convert people. Oh, I remember 1999, there was a Pan-African Festival. I was editor of a magazine at that time. The magazine, focused on 4 cardinal areas. African culture, holistic health, and 2 others. So the Partner Fest held in Ghana, and then I was there. It was a week-long program. I had to, because of what my function as the editor of that magazine demanded, I had to look around. When I got to Accra, I had to look around for some traditionalists, and eventually I got some. Now then I interviewed them. When I came back to Nigeria, I also did some research on, I think, Ifa or something, Ifa divination, and Ogun. I wrote the story, and my publisher, who was versed in Ifa, now said, "Editor, you have written very well, but you have only written as a journalist. You didn't write to persuade. You didn't write to win converts. You didn't write to bring people to your side." And I told the publisher, I said, I didn't know beyond this one. What am I saying is that the publisher wanted me to write persuasively, to bring to win converts. The same thing. When you write as a pastor, you must write to the point of winning people for Christ, winning people to your side. That is the whole essence of writing. Otherwise, everyone will be looking at the Bible. You don't need to be quoting the Bible all the time, but the Bible must be your standard point of reference. But it is not every time that you are now saying the Bible, the Bible. No, bring out empirical issues. Issues that people can relate with. Issues that people can identify with and can say, "Oh, I understand these areas because I am feeling them," and so on and so forth. So be persuasive anytime you write. It is also important. Then I've mentioned that we write out the verses where we write, and then you write to win converts. And then every assertion made, whatever assertion you make as a writer of Christian literature, must have its root in the Bible. Any assertion that you make that cannot be traced to the Bible is ineffectual. As a matter of fact, it's null and void, because the Bible is the standard. The Bible is the focus. The Bible is the guide. So whatever you are writing now using the Bible as your root. Because everyone that reads whatever you write, reads because the person is a Christian. The reader is a Christian. And so it is not that the reader doesn't have the Bible. It is just that he now wants someone to expatiate certain areas of the Bible that the reader doesn't understand. That is the whole essence of writing Christian literature. So anytime you write, you ensure that you write for people to understand, for people to be able to relate with what you are writing. It is also very important. Very important. So assertion. And then you ensure that you don't copy other people's works. No, be original. Don't copy people's works. Be original. And if at all you borrow ideas from some authors, please try as much as possible to acknowledge. Anointing doesn't cover plagiarism. That you are anointed doesn't mean that if you run foul of the law won't catch up with you. There is no anointing that covers plagiarism. So anytime you borrow ideas from some books, try as much as possible. It is a general principle. It is a universal principle that guides book writing. When you borrow ideas, acknowledge your source. That is all that is required there. And it is critical. Again, you try as much as possible to transmit your messages clearly. There are some books that I have come across, and I discovered that the writers wrote as if every would-be reader would be high up there, okay? As if everybody has been long in the faith. No, when you write for everyone to understand. Write in such a way that even new converts will follow you, will understand what you are saying. If you use any coded language, try as much as possible to decode the language that you have used. Your writing must not be esoteric. It must not be for a specific class of believers. Whatever writing you do must be for all believers, because everyone that reads you for a purpose. Everyone that reads the topic that you are highlighting is reading for a purpose. So that is also very important, because there are some writings that are coded, and such writings are not necessary. You make sure that you simplify terms. If you are using any term, make sure that you simplify. If you are using any register, even register that is outside the Christian register, ensure that you explain so that everyone can read and understand. It is also important. Then again, just as I said, that anointing doesn't cover plagiarism. Also, anointing doesn't cover poor expression. You have the anointing as a writer, but you can engage someone who can help you edit your work so that the language can flow. Let me say this. There are some readers out there who are self-styled linguistic perfectionists, who are always turned off each time they cite errors in whatever text they read. It is possible for you to have such people as your potential readers. So, for you to have them on your side, for you to engage them all through the book that you have written, it is important that you present a good book, a book that is error-free. Even if there will be errors, because we are all human beings, even if there will be errors, the errors must be minimal. So ensure that someone who understands editing, who understands the language you are using, whatever the language is, helps you to proofread, to edit your work. It doesn't mean that you don't know it. You can't be the best critic of your work. It is a neutral person that will use the third eye to see what you couldn't see, or what you thought that you put down, but which you didn't put down. You know, the mind is faster than the hand. Many times you think that something is there, but it's not there. You only thought about it, but you didn't type it. Okay? So and because you felt that it is there, you will always see it, even when it is not there. It is another person that can see, that can point it out and say, oh, this thing is not supposed to be like this, so it's missing. That is why you need to engage the hands of someone else, okay, to help you look at whatever it is that you have written. It is important also. And then finally, you need the ISBN if you write any book. ISBN is International Serial Book Number. You also need, the church also needs ISSN for magazines or newspapers published by the church. ISSN is an international standard serial number. So that number is given to magazines and newspapers. why ISBN is given for books. Okay, when you have ISBN, it makes your book unique, and then it's for easy location, for easy identification, for easy reference. I believe we should be able to, learn one or two things from what I've said today. I thank you once again for listening to me. You can share this video. You can ring the notification bell. You can make your comments known. And then I also want to implore you to subscribe to this channel. Until we meet next time, I say bye for now.